Let's talk about My Daemon, the latest animated series from Netflix. There will be spoilers ahead as I will be sharing my thoughts on this first season, and I'd love to hear your honest review in the comments below. While there, check out horrorexchange.com for our Gooligan clothing range, but for now, this is my honest review of My Daemon. Despite being set in a near future post-apocalyptic version of Japan, it's actually a Thai studio who brought us this creation, Igloo. Let's break down the overall narrative before any critiques. The concept here is a fairly simple one. It's an adventure story with an often seen child befriends creature motif, a la E.T., Lilo and Stitch. It's that kind of gist with a demonic flavour, as in this version of Japan, a nuclear explosion caused the planet Earth and Hell to cross paths, and that created a spillover of daemons into our world. There's loads of different kinds of daemon with different abilities, and what we get is essentially Pokemon where everything is a dark type. The daemons are extremely frowned upon by society, including by the generic religious nut who spouts the daemons are sinful beasts. But our hero, a young boy named Kento, befriends a daemon named Anna who can store things inside of her. A cool catch is that the things she stores remain in the state from when they were stored. Kento's mother is killed, so she gets stored away, and from there on out, we go on a journey across Japan to find a very convenient time reversal demon to save the mother. There we have the story. Now time for some good things and some bad things, because on balance I thought the show was just an okay watch. Not much that properly stuck with me while watching it or after I concluded. This is possibly because it's got quite a lot of elements that I've seen many times in other forms of media. Kid loses loved one and tries to get him back, child befriends a creature that adult characters see as a monster, journey across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. We even have a big evil corporation who gets in the way. This is the Daemon User Association, and they see value in Anna and want to capture her, dead or alive. Announced by the chairman of the association, who had a character entrance so by the book, it was hilarious. It's like, yep, you're the bad guy, aren't you? The ingredients here are ones I've savoured often, and yet it didn't feel like My Daemon's twist on those influences pushed the boundaries it set for itself. There's a formula here that some may very well enjoy and get caught in the whirlwind of the adventure, but I'm sad to report that I didn't get that same sense of wonder. I kind of think that the premise here could have worked better as a game rather than a series, because for the most part it's Kento and Anna moving through the wasteland, meet some people, there's some fighting, move on, meet more people, more fighting, move on, battling across a wasteland, trying to survive against humans and daemons alike, with some platforming sections, upgrading. Yep, I think there could have been some good potential to work in the gaming medium. The animation was decent in the action segments we received, but I felt like a lot of the series involved these big fight set pieces to a point where they became commonplace and less interesting with each new conflict. And I fully get that. It is an action fantasy series with a world populated by loads of demonic creatures and nasty humans. If the overall story is Kento getting from A to B, then the options of what to do between A and B in this world are prone to limitations. As such, I found a repetition in the story where each new location and battle felt like a reskin of something I'd already seen earlier in the series. If this show's concept was preferred to be done with cinematic storytelling, I'm not sure if 20 to 30 minute episodes was the best format here. If anything, I actually think My Daemon would have worked better as an hour and 45-minute film. That could very well have done the job and cut some of the meat out of the middle that I initially enjoyed the taste of but grew tired of by around episode 5. I'm gonna cite Nimona as a reference point. That was a Netflix animated movie from earlier this year with a big world involving the theme of monsters and how they are viewed by certain pockets of society, plus some action and an overall adventure. That was around the hour 45 mark, and I think it fit perfectly. If Nimona had the same structure as My Daemon with 20 to 30 minute episodes, I don't think Nimona would have been as effective as it was. So I do believe that some condensing could have made a big difference with My Daemon, concentrating it for a stronger delivery. However, despite my reservations about the show, there were quite a few things I did like. The designs of the daemons, for the most part, I think were really slick. I appreciated how there were lots of different kinds of daemons with different purposes and uses, rather than everything being samey, every daemon being identical, or Anna being the one and only daemon. I think that there were some messages here regarding disfigurements as well, since Kento has a large birthmark on his face. The deeper reason for that birthmark I'll discuss in a little bit, but I think that Kento loves Anna so much because she also has facial disfigurements. I understood why Kento had a connection with the daemons prior to the revelation about his birthmark. He feels like an outcast and a target by wider society because of simply being associated with the daemons, which I thought was a message regarding the real world and how people can cruelly target or belittle certain kinds of people based on their appearance and the concept of their existence more than any character traits specifically. Combining this concept with the idea that it was nuclear power that caused the apocalypse to begin with, providing an almost anti-nuclear weapon message with a fantasy packaging, I absolutely expect this to be another Netflix show that gets hit with another woke label by a portion of the viewership. And if that's the case, using fantasy to explore real-world concepts is something the fantasy genre has almost always done, taking influence from reality and twisting it in order for us to see a different perspective on it. And as such, I appreciated the connection between Kento and the daemons and the messages I interpreted from my watch via how those characters interacted and how they were treated in the series. Now onto the birthmark a little bit more. This was something I really enjoyed as a concept. So Kento actually has something in his head called a daemonian particle, something which allows him to understand daemons and daemons to understand him. However, these particles eventually give birth to new daemons, so in essence, Kento was walking around with an egg in his head waiting to hatch. It's a ticking time bomb, adding tension to the story, not just trying to find the daemon who can turn back time. Here, Kento's gift is also a curse waiting to happen. And you think, yeah, no need to worry, he'll likely be alright in the end and get through it. And naturally, he does ultimately survive. But what I didn't expect to see was the particle actually bloody hatching. Christ almighty, in the most brutal scene in the entire show, this sweet, kind boy I grew an attachment to, we get to see him cry in agony while being tortured before bleeding from his eyes and his head exploding. I sat up when I saw this happen. Like, the show has some really good gore scattered throughout it, and I loved that. But here, it's the nature of the moment. It's a horrendous death for anyone of any age, let alone this kind-hearted child, just wanting to save his best friend. But in what he believes are his final moments, he tells Anna how much he loves her. It tugged at my heartstrings and then flat out ripped my heart out and bit a chunk out of it. I also didn't mind how the show kept the common rule of messing around with death never ends desirably, as when Kento's mother is revived, she's demonic and not the mother he knows. Of course, we get an often witnessed scene where Anna doesn't like the mother and attacks her, but Kento thinks it's just Anna being a dick and not a warning signal. It's the whole, hey, what's the matter with you trope while being blind to notable changes in character of an admired person. And in the end, the mother has to be properly laid to rest rather than being fully saved and resurrected, meaning Kento has to accept death and move on. Pairing that with losing contact with Anna, Kento does go through an emotional rollercoaster here. He was the glue that kept this story together for me, and though I thought that the story was just okay, he was the reason I kept watching, purely because I wanted to see a good outcome for him. But refreshingly, the outcome wasn't a good one. Instead, it's a bittersweet one, a melancholic ending to his adventure, which I much prefer to everybody winning and all the results going in the protagonist's favour, as the real world is often not that forgiving. My daemon was rather a mixed bag for me. The problems I found in it didn't ruin it for me, because those problems mostly derived from a sense of sameness than anything that directly spoiled the story being told. It was a good concept for a show, but for me it was the abundance of familiarities within the show itself that knocked some points off, with that move a bit, meet people, fight something, move a bit, meet people, fight something format, making the experience one that didn't sweep me up. Luckily, some quite thoughtful morality tales and a lovable main character kept my attention, as well as a quirky animation style and some unique design aspects to the world. I still think that the pacing and the plot direction were things that could have benefited a different medium than a full series to tell its tale, but for what it was on the surface, I think my daemon was a decent watch that I think perhaps teen audiences will enjoy more than any other share of the market. These are just my general thoughts though. What are yours? I've been Connor from Unleash the Ghouls. Thanks for watching this honest review, and I'll see you soon for another. Cheers out.